Jose Ramirez cements himself yet again in Cleveland baseball franchise history. That was all the Guardians had to celebrate on Monday night in a bitterly cold loss to the Royals that exposed some important areas of improvement for Cleveland.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Guardians fans, welcome on into an episode of Locked On Guardians, your only daily podcast on the Guardians that covers your team every day from the majors, the minors, the draft, and everything in between, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. If you are an everydayer or a first listener every day where you get podcasts, welcome back. If you are new, my name is Justin Lada, and I'm one of your co-hosts here, alongside my friend and coach, Jeff Ellis, who is the original host here for the last 7 seasons and 8 years. I've been here for 4, and we've been covering the Guardians minor league system and the draft and other things, all Guardians, for 19 years, each of us. And on today's show, later on, we'll cover the Gabriel Arias injury that might evoke some surprising feelings. As we look ahead to Game 2 matchup in the series of the Royals coming up in just a little bit. We'll get into some early season concerns for a few players and some changes to think about. Leading off the show, though, Jose Ramirez sets a franchise record that will never be broken. And the path to get there is not talked about enough, if you ask me. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, if you're a new customer, you can bet just $5. Get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Jeff, the Guardians had a nice celebration after the 5th inning for Jose once the game became official to celebrate his achievement. I didn't realize this. The guys he passed, like the top 5 on this list, are all guys who were born when black and white photos were still common. Like, that's crazy to me that it's been this long. Terry Turner, who I had never heard of before Jose was ready to break this record.
Oh, I talked about him way back in the day.
When
I did one off season, the greatest players play every position, and third base was Jose, it was Terry Turner, and it was Bradley, and I'm blanking on Bradley's first name. We're the 3 guys who were all very high in WAR. But yep. You can go find that. Go dig in if you want to listen to an old episode where I gave it to Terry Turner at the time, but it was like 3 years ago. I was like, Jose will get this eventually.
Yeah, I didn't hear of him, honestly, and I didn't realize his final game was way back in 1918. That's just crazy to me. I asked some of the everydayers and the insiders what their favorite Jose stories were, just some of the memories for him. So we'll read some of those on the air as well. But it's really special to be able to witness this. Like, I know Zach Meisel had a great story in The Athletic talking to a couple of the guys about like what they thought. And honestly, this accomplishment, this feat kind of snuck up on me as far as it's concerned with Jose. Like, I didn't realize how close he was. I know we talked about like homers, steals, doubles, all that kind of stuff that he's going to set this year for the Guardians franchise record. But games played, I mean, that's pretty rare to see that happen anymore. I know one of our commenters on in the Discord talked about how a lot of other franchises, their games played leaders have a lot more. Obviously in Cleveland, it doesn't happen a lot because guys leave a lot earlier, right? So
yeah,
it's pretty crazy it's only 1,600 for Jose to break the record. But if you thought about Jose when he was coming up, like even as somebody, I thought I was early on Jose Ramirez, Jeff. Like, I remember when he got called to Lake County in 2012. And I thought for sure that like he was going to be a good player. I thought for sure he'd be a good player. I don't think I ever would have thought that it would have been Hall of Fame franchise record leader. Like, and then obviously he struggled for a couple of years up in the majors. Like, he kept the seat go Lindor. I don't think people realize how close. We talked about this yesterday. I don't think people realize how close it was that Jose was not going to be on the team in 2016 out of options. So it really is something wild that he got here with all that he went through. I mean, $50,000 signing bonus growing up as a small dude in Bonnie, Dominican Republic. And, the stories about how he played baseball like around like some very rough neighborhoods and rough people. The fact that he got here and is as good as he is, none of what happened in his career I could have predicted any of this. As much as I, again, thought I was early to Jose in 2012. And I remember the stories about when he got sent to Lake County, how much people liked him. I don't think anybody saw this coming.
He's definitely an interesting guy. It's an interesting thing. For those who are curious, in the American League, the only teams with a lower entry to this award are the Oakland Athletics with Carney Lansford, Tony Fernandez with the Blue Jays, Evan Longoria with Tampa, and then over in the National League, the only teams that are lower are the Arizona Diamondbacks, so it's Paul Goldschmidt, Miami Marlins with Hanley Ramirez, the New York Mets, I think maybe is the most surprising name on this list.
Yeah.
New York Mets there. And then Washington Nationals, Brian Zimmerman's barely got him beat. He's got a little more 100 games more. But yeah, it's what you talked about, get rid of the expansion teams, and that thing isn't even in smaller group. And it's teams outside of, I guess to a lesser degree, the Blue Jays and the Mets, who are not able to keep players as often, who this is, and a lot of it, I will say too, is older players. Let's be honest. If I said Bill Russell of the Dodgers, I don't know how many of our listeners would be like, oh yes, I can picture him. It's that. It's there are some recent players on it. The Luke Appling with the White Sox. You got that one right.
I know the name at least.
So it's there's a degree of that, but when he came up in the minor leagues, he was just always, I don't know if I want to say rambunctious, that's not the right word, but just he was always a bit of a handful from what I had heard. That he just kind of always operated on Jose time and Jose expectations, and he was never a problem. But it was always like they planned for extra time with Jose because you'd never expected him to be where he was supposed to be when you expected him to be there, unless it was specifically relating to game time. Then they knew they could count on him. But
English classes, those sorts of things. I remember I went to college with the guy who was at the time when he was in Akron, charged with teaching him English, and he said Jose when he was in class for tutoring or whatever he was doing with him, teaching him English, he was good when he was there. It was just like you said, he never knew if the schedule was gonna fit into his time. But luckily for Jose in Cleveland, he was all about the baseball. That stuff, he wasn't as essentially focused on, but the baseball stuff he was always very focused on, and he always gave you 110% of the game. He was always working on the baseball stuff. It was all the other stuff that was just you weren't sure about. By the way, you missed the Diamondbacks. Luis Gonzalez is the all-time leader there. That's only 1,100, almost 2,000 games for him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's 1,194.
Oh, so that's I had Diamondbacks at Paul Goldschmidt at 1,092. So I guess
that's the active leader. Jose is the only active leader.
No, I know. So I don't know. I guess they just missed Luis Gonzalez here on this quick list I pulled up. The other thing I want to say with Jose is I know you said you're pretty front and center with him. I don't think anyone. I knew some people who were big fans of his. No one expected this. Anyone who thought he was going to be an all-star who says that now is a liar. This is a guy who never even hit in a minor league season double-digit home runs. Predict he would be a 30 home run. He never even hit double digits in the minors. There's a lot of positives to his game. He had good defense. He played a lot of positions. He ran well for his size. He got on base, but just his continued evolution. He is the guy that, it's kind of crazy.
He's a unicorn.
Well, it's just, and even to a degree, Lindor was this as well, where both those players leveled up upon getting to the big leagues, and you don't see that often, but both those guys became much better with their time in the big leagues. He debuted at age 20, and it was rough.
Yep.
And then it took till
and he skipped AAA at the time.
Yeah,
at that time he did. He went straight from Akron to Cleveland to be a pinch runner. They call him to be a pinch runner. I will say, I got some people who submitted some favorite memories or some favorite things about Jose we can get into, and Jeff will ask you yours. I think my most favorite memory about Jose Ramirez is 2019. This wasn't even they were still in the playoff race. It was still consequential. But my favorite memory, I think, is the game where he came back against the White Sox in late September, and he had come back from the hamate bone issue. And then, like I said yesterday, there was no minor league games happening, so he didn't have anywhere to go to rehab. So he comes back with 0 rehab at bats, and he hits a grand slam and a 3-run homer in one game in his first 2 at bats. And the White Sox are just stunned that this guy came back and did that. And that was the last game he played that year because the pain was too much to continue for him. But guy comes back, no rehab time, hamate bone that usually saps every guy's power. First two at bats, 2 home runs. and then that was kind of his exit from the season. Like that just to me is Jose Ramirez encapsulate. It doesn't matter. Like he just comes back, has the heart, and he does things that you don't expect. All right, Jeff, let's get your favorite Jose Ramirez story memory next, as well as some of our everydayers and insiders who had some good ones to share. The NBA playoffs, they are fast approaching, and every possession is going to matter. Every matchup is magnified. Any game could swing a series. Right now, FanDuel is giving customers, if you're new, a great way to get in on the action during NBA playoff season. And you can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets with your first bet. And the app makes it very easy to follow the action with player stats, trends, matchups, all in one place. You want the insights that matter in the playoffs when you're looking at stars, role players, key moments. Stars matter in the NBA playoffs. It really does make the entire playoff experience more engaging start to finish because you're going to shorten your bench. You're going to have those key guys in the game more often. So it's going to be a lot of fun for the Cavs. We'll see how far they can go. As for the Guardians, they are actually 1.5 run underdogs to the Royals on Tuesday afternoon. And the over-under is 7. I'm thinking with a lefty on the mound and Gavin Williams on the mound, it'll be under 7. And I don't know. I'm not sure how the Guardians offense is going to respond. So the 1.5 might be safe to go with the Royals. We'll see what happens in that. But if you're a new customer with FanDuel, you could bet $5, get $250 in bonus bets. Check out the FanDuel app today. As always, make sure you are checking out the Everydayer Club. Appreciate you guys all being here with us. But the Everydayer Club, with baseball finally being back, you can use the code finally to hang out with us over on the Discord. If you go to lockedonguardians.supercast.com, use the code finally, unlock every episode ad-free, get access to our private listener group chat, check the link in the show notes, and use the code finally to get that free month. All right, Jeff, what is your... Like, do you have a standout Jose Ramirez memory or just anything about him moment?
Well, before I do that, I'm going to self-correct here because I should have known better and to trust Google Gemini. So there's only 4 teams that, by the way, is higher. I made a classic mistake. The Blue Jays with Tony Fernandez is one.
You trusted AI.
I made a mistake there. And, of course, they blew it because AI is dumb. And then it's so there's only 4 teams that it occurred with. You got the Blue Jays, the D-backs, the Rays, and then I think that
the Marlins.
Yeah. So
Luis
that is
Castillo 1,128 is.
So you got 3 expansion teams, and then only the Blue Jays amongst teams that are been around since before the 90s. So I will say the Mets is at Crane Pull at 1,800, so it's still it's not super high for some of those other teams, and Burt Campanis with the A's. But yeah, so I got that wrong. I think this might be a weird one, but for me, it's his extension. Like I got so used to people not staying. I got so used to you're going to root for a guy and he's going to get traded and you're going to get more assets. And if you want to hear what I was told they were going to get, you can go listen to one of our off-season episodes where I broke down how that worked out. But or what that rumored was. But it's like I had said I stopped buying Cleveland baseball gear because I was like, I'll never buy a name on the back of a shirt because that guy's going to be gone in 5 years. It's became such, and that's why sometimes I think I get viewed as anti-player and pro owner, but the whole breakdown of this sport is there's no way around it. The rich get to keep their players for the most part, not always. Mookie Betts did go to the Dodgers, and Robinson Cano left the Yankees. There's a few examples of teams losing their guys, but when you are a Cleveland fan, it is everybody. So it's just the fact that finally someone stayed. Finally, I could buy a shirt with the name on the back and get to, not have to deal with another fantastic player out the door, because that is baseball.
It is. Yeah. We got some good comments here. My mouse died while I'm recording this. I have to switch our listener submissions here. So this is just another fun real-time thing of recording.
So we don't have
that mouse dead too.
Okay.
Yeah, that mouse is dead too. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Will San Juan said he drove out to Cleveland from Connecticut with a couple of Red Sox fans. That was the day that Jose had his 3 home run game. So the ride home was much more enjoyable. Favorite thing about him is he is playing for Cleveland for life. And the best thing is that he plays like a little leaguer inside all of us. John mentioned that during Michael Brantley's rehab stint, Jose stopped by to visit him. But apparently when Michael Brantley was rehabbing in 2016 with that shoulder issue, Jose visited him. Michael said the 3 home run game in Anaheim was up there. He met witness that in person. That'd be very cool. Kevin just said Jose's statue should be up already. I agree with that. Kevin S. said favorite memory was the extension, like you, as the news trickled in, joy and relief. Between that and the 2016 title with LeBron coming back, it's all in the same for him. And, we're loyal to our teams, and it's rare that one player is loyal back. So appreciate everyone's submissions for that in the memories. I really wish they could have celebrated the moment with a win or something better. That was just a very disappointing game to do all this in because, Stephen Kwan had the leadoff home run in the first inning. Tanner was good the first 2 innings, and they had a lead, and it seemed like things were in good shape. And the Royals drove up Tanner Bibee's pitch count, and he was out early. And they really, outside of Rocchio's garbage time home run off of Matt Strahm, they did nothing else offensively. They had very few chances, honestly. And, I thought it exposed some things in the lineup that, Chase DeLauter can't do everything. The bottom of the order is not always going to come through like they did against the Cubs. And
they tried to come through today. You had the home run, the double. Bottom of the order still did its thing.
Who had to hit the bottom of the order? What? Gabby.
Gabby and Rocchio had the home run. Bottom's doing better than the middle.
It is. Yeah. I mean, man, again, Kyle Manzardo, I just, it's only a few games. You don't want to sit here and overreact, but the at-bat quality so far from Kyle Manzardo is definitely a bummer and concerning, considering he's your cleanup hitter. That's not a great look. And, thankfully Jose had the 2 walks in this game. It became, it's going to become very clear if it hasn't already. Like, teams are pitching around Chase DeLauter. They're pitching around Jose Ramirez. They are allowing Jose to try to get himself out. DeLauter is not chasing. So he's working some walks now because teams would rather see if Jose will get himself out. And he was early on. Tonight in this game, he walked twice, which is great. So he's kind of figuring that out, or at least adjusting again, because teams have no fear of pitching to Kyle Manzardo and Bo Naylor hitting 5th. That is right now is an empty 4-5. I know Rhys Hoskins hit 5th, but
honestly, it's been an empty 3-4-5. Let's be honest. Like, Jose so far, it's been just as rough as those other 2. Like, but teams, the middle of the order
still respect Jose, though. At least
do they?
They know,
I mean, they're pitching to get to him. They're pitching around DeLauter to get to him. It's happened twice now. That's weird. It's unusual.
I think. Well, yes, they're pitching around DeLauter to get to Jose, but I think they're also seeing if Jose will get himself out, if he will expand, which he is a little bit more. I don't know if they're necessary.
I don't know if expand and throw secondary the off-speed pitches, right? Like, that's right now the book.
But I don't know if they're necessarily like saying we'd rather pitch to Jose. I think it's we know he right now is more likely to expand than Chase DeLauter, given the run Chase is on. So I wonder if they're taking their chances with Jose, which to a degree is pitching around DeLauter to get to Jose. But I wonder if they're like, well, if Jose walks and we don't get him to get himself out, we don't care about pitching to Kyle Manzardo because he's not going to hurt us. We don't care about pitching to Bo Naylor because he's not going to hurt us. We don't care about pitching to Rhys Hoskins right now because he's not showing anything either. So teams,
and that's almost the entire lineup, though.
Well, yeah, it is, except for Kwan had a good night in this one. He had 2 hits and a homer, so he's kind of coming around. He's not the normal April Kwan that we're used to seeing, but it's been a better situation. Honestly, I was surprised there were so many home runs in this game. It was freezing downtown, like very cold. It's only going to get colder on Tuesday, but the Guardians hit 2 home runs. The Royals had a pair of home runs. Like, I was very shocked the balls flew out in this one. But what a disappointing way to celebrate that for Jose. Like, just no offensive chances, really. There was very little punch in this lineup. Very little good quality of at bats. Like Michael Wacha, he only struck out 3 batters. He only walked 3. Like, they just did not. And 2 of those were Jose.
Outs. A lot of first pitch outs.
Yeah, the game plan against Wacha just did not look good.
No, and before he got hurt, and I know we'll get to in segment 3. It's like at least Gabby had like a 4 pitch, and I think the out was when I can't remember. He might have struck out, but I think it was on like a 5 or 6 pitcher. At least like giving that guy who's averaging 4 pitches in a bat, like I'll take it. Like even after Gabby's double and Rocchio had the big home run today. So, he did his job too, but it's like next pitch, first pitch out. We got our first runner on scoring position since the whole game, I think, at that point. And immediately one pitch, one out.
Gabby's strikeout in his first at bat was a six pitch at bat, which is not bad. And then he had a 4-pitch at bat with the double. Like he was ahead 2-0, so he got himself into a good count. We'll talk more about the slow offense and the disappointing results and the input in this game against the Royals in game 1. We'll talk about the impact of Gabriel Arias' injury. We'll preview game 2. We'll look ahead to some of the upcoming matchups, which should feature some different lineup decisions. That's coming up on the rest of this episode of Locked On Guardians.
Hey, this is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, and when it comes to our futures, we all have great ideas when it comes to our job, when it comes to our house, when it comes to our vehicles, all that great stuff. But honestly, when it comes to securing that future, I don't know what I don't know. And when me and my wife sat down to figure out the life insurance thing, Ethos made everything simple. Everything's online, you have a quick and easy application process, and you find out exactly what you need for coverage all in one spot. Ethos makes everything so convenient when it comes to learning about your own life insurance, because insurance is something that is far beyond batting average or on-base percentage. It's way out in left field for me. Ethos made it all easy. Take just 10 minutes and get covered today with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times may vary and rates may vary.
Can't thank all of our everydayers enough, and everybody who makes Locked On Guardians your first listen today and every day where you get podcasts. You guys are what makes this run, what makes this fun. Win or lose, you stick with us, and that's why we're here. So we appreciate you all. If you want to be in on this club, all you got to do really is you can hit the subtext up. That's in the show notes as well. The join subtext.com/LockedOnGuardians. You've heard the read for the Everydayer Club. And honestly, just hit the bell on YouTube. That helps us out a lot too. You get notifications of all our videos. Subscribing on YouTube. We are so close to 6,000 subscribers on YouTube, and then auto download on any audio platform that you're listening on. It's a great way to support the show too. Let us know, you're downloading and keeping the show in your feed every single day. But really do appreciate everybody who sticks with the team and sticks with us, win or lose, and is here every single day. So Manzardo not looking great so far. I was a little bit disappointed in Rhys Hoskins. Like, he got a start here. I know it was against Waka, but we've been kind of waiting for him to get some more at bats, and he will with these lefties coming up. But his plate appearances were not the best in this game, at least from the whiff standpoint. Like, we know he's going to whiff, but I think he worked a walk, didn't he? Didn't Rhys Hoskins? No, he did not. He was 0 for 4.
No,
so
he was 0 for 4, and he had some bad.
Yeah,
he looked late at points.
Things just don't look. Yeah, the foul tip strikeout against Lucas Ursig at the end in the 9th inning was a ball out of the zone on 2 strikes, and it was not good. So things are slow for him. And then honestly, like, I don't know. I know we want to talk Gabriel Arias, but like, Bo Naylor to me is just like, what are we doing with Bo Naylor? Like, the defense is just kind of whatever. He doesn't get challenges overturned. It's early. We'll see what happens. He's not hitting the ball. Like, we kind of had this conversation off air the other day, but like, it's too early to pull the plug, but like, I wouldn't mind seeing Austin Hedges start to eat into some of his playing time while he is struggling. I know you can't work out of a slump. You can't work on things on the bench. You got to see pitches and you got to go through the motions, but I feel like I wouldn't mind seeing Austin Hedges eat into some of those at bats. He's hitting the ball right now. Ride the hot hand. We know the defense is always going to show up. Like, you've got to at least contribute one thing positive to the team, like on the winning side. Like, ask yourself, like, what did I do to help the team win today? And for Austin Hedges, it's usually defense. He's hitting right now. What are we saying about Bo Naylor? Like, what is he doing?
He at least got on base today. I'll say that. Like,
yeah, so he goes up there and just doesn't swing and hopes for a walk. Like, that's.
I mean, I'm just saying we know what Austin Hedges is, and I think because we had this debate off air, and it's like at the end of the day with Hedges, he's got to be 34, and he's been the worst hitter in baseball for half a decade. Like, I mean, maybe Hedges can get a few more games here and there, but like he's also a 34-year-old catcher. It's like, how many games can he really take on? Like, if it doesn't work with Bo, they don't really have a good option that can help. I know people are going to say Cooper Engel. The problem with Engel is I worry, it's all the things we're talking about in the offseason. So it's like just focusing on, you can go back and listen to some of our prospect chatter, but like just focusing on now, it's like if Bo isn't the answer, they don't really have, to me, a great option this year because Hedges can't be a full-time guy and Fry can't. So it's like, yeah, you could split it 3 ways, but that might end up with all of them being worse because Naylor does kind of need to play. We've seen that. It's almost like Naylor has to get it out of his system, play so many at bats, and then it seems to kick on late in the year. It's like, I don't know what it is with him. I think he's one of the, people have asked to points like some of our more disappointing prospects. I think he's probably the most disappointing hitter prospect of the last half decade. Like he was a guy that I had as the number 1 prospect as a hitter in the system, and he's really taught me to not overvalue walk rates. But he's just, we got so excited and got fooled by another September. It is early. Maybe I am hoping that like someone can clip this in a month and I look like a moron. Because I want Bo Naylor to work. I want him to be, a catcher because it's so hard to find that position. But my goodness, it's just been ugly. And he's fine behind the plate defensively. But man, for a guy who's supposed to be a bat first catcher, who when he was drafted, many people thought, he's probably going to be. It's like he was a third baseman. Many people thought like he was going to end up at third base or outfield because he was going to be all hit, no defense. And I mean, he's just become the opposite. And now.
You wanted Tyler Soderstrom, and he didn't do that. Like that's who you were hoping he would be because the A's moved Tyler Soderstrom to the outfield
before Soderstrom.
Well, I know, but that's like
yeah.
Or Bo Naylor, and it just didn't.
Or even like Bryce Harper before that. Not that he was that ceiling as Bryce Harper, but like
I mean, everybody knew that was going to be.
No, I know,
but
just
slowing down the development.
Yeah,
we'll see. Again, you're right. It's early. I just It looks like a lot of the same from Bo Naylor over the last couple of years. Like besides his second half of his rookie year and last September, that it looks like it's more of the same. I can't believe I'm going to say this, Jeff, but I'm worried about what the impact is if Gabby Arias has to miss time. The Guardians are saying it's only a hamstring strain for right now, or a pulled hamstring.
It was, as you said, very cold. So it's like it's very easy to pull a muscle running in cold like that.
And it's a soft tissue injury. Those things are tricky, and he's definitely not going to play with that on Tuesday because it's freezing. They moved up the game because of the cold weather. You get him, let him out. Don't let him play Tuesday. Don't let him play Wednesday. They have the off day Thursday. See if 3 days off does the trick.
DeLauter sit tomorrow as well, just because he hasn't sat in a while, and you got the tough lefty, and it's super cold, and that just adds to injury risk.
I don't know. Can you afford to be two guys down on the offensive side of things? Like Gabby Arias, like you said, I know he struck out in the 1 at bat, but it was a 6-pitch at bat, and then he had the double that, and it was an opposite field double. Like it was the kind of swing, the kind of hit you want from him, taking the ball the other way.
All spring, let's be honest, those first 2 pitches are ones he would have swung at. Like that was kind of that's what, like, we know he's got power potential. Like we've always known that. I think the most encouraging thing, the power is great, but like the encouraging thing to me is like he's laying off pitches and
strikes.
Yeah, it's I can't remember which broadcast. I think I was listening to Hamilton at that point, who talked about someone talking with Gabby about it. He goes, "It's really hard to not swing. I'm working on it. It's really hard to not." Which it's one of the hardest things to change an approach. We talked about that with every free swinger, but I think this hurts because it's not just that he's on a heater and you want him to stay on his heater. You want him to build his confidence. We saw it a year ago. He had a good first 2 months of the year last year when he had confidence and was on that heater. But it's the defensive loss too. It's just, you lose that arm at the position. I know you don't read the ESPN stuff, but Dave Schoenfeld talked about like the watchability index and had Cleveland at 14th. And one of their 2 bonus points was Gabby Arias' arm. The other one was Stephen Kwan's professionalism as a hitter, but he gave them one of their bonus points was Gabby. Like national writers, like can even see, like you just get a thing you don't get any other way. So I'm almost more worried about the loss of his defensive potential. I would rather see, call me crazy, but I'd rather see Rocchio just stay at second base and have Schneemann at short tomorrow.
Yes, I'm 100% with you there. Schneemann has a better arm than Rocchio. Rocchio made that nice play at shortstop tonight, but the only reason he threw out Salvador Perez at first is because it was Salvador Perez, and he's one of the slowest runners in the league because he's 36 or 37. I forget how old he is, but anybody else, that's a base hit, and Arias might make that play and might throw anybody else out because of his arm. We saw it on Sunday in game 1. So you're right. The defense could be a big deal if Arias is out for any extended amount of time because the options are Schneemann or Rocchio, or it's putting Rocchio at short and putting Brito at second. And as much as I want to see Brito's bat, we know how the defense is, and a shortstop and second base combination of Rocchio and Brito is certainly not as good defensively, and it's certainly uncertain offensively. So it's like, what are you getting there? But I mean, if there is an extended window there where Arias has set the IL, the obvious answer I think is Juan Brito, who takes his place on the roster. And,
agreed.
In some ways, like, you know, I'll have the conversation today, but I'm like, I wouldn't mind seeing Juan Brito snag some at bats at first base if you DH Hoskins. I don't know, like, it's too early to like make knee jerk reactions, but it's like, I don't know, like I want to see Brito, but I'm just worried about Manzardo, but it's early. I don't know. Game 2, we've got Gavin Williams and Noah Cameron. Again, that's a 110 start. If you listened to this before, they moved the game up because it's going to be cold in Cleveland again. I would expect in this game, you'll see Hedges catch, maybe Fry is in the lineup, Hoskins for sure. I wonder if you can get all 3 in this game.
I bet all 3 are in because, like I said, it's after the night game, having a day game, you definitely have Hedges in. And if they choose to rest DeLauter, Fry in the outfield, is right there. And I mean, Martinez probably plays as well. So it could be a situation where it's Martinez in center and Quan in left with Fry in the outfield.
Well, Schneemann's the only guy that's been playing center besides Quan. It's so if if Martinez is playing, he's playing right or left. He's not playing
so he'll
center.
be left. So it'll be left Martinez, Quan, Fry potentially, and then infield could be Schneemann, with Rocchio and
Jose and
and maybe Hoskins there, and then maybe they just DH Chase instead. Like I think tomorrow
I'd be open to that
with the cold. I just don't want to see Chase in the outfield because of what happened with Gabby. But like in general, when it gets that cold, it just leads to more soft tissue.
And then, I agree. So DH DeLauter today on Tuesday. Give him the day off Wednesday because you have a Wednesday, Thursday. You give him the day off Wednesday. They're off Thursday. You give him back-to-back days off.
Yep.
And he's good to go.
Let Manzo sit versus the lefty.
Oh, please. But here's the thing. They are going to face a lot of lefties coming up. Like they've been facing nothing but righties, but now you have Noah Cameron, then you have Cole Reagans, and then you go to Atlanta and you've got Martin Perez and Chris Sale, and then you go to St. Louis after that and you've got Matthew Liberatore. So they're going to face, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties out of the next 6 games. So again, that's prime time for Fry, for Hedges, for Hoskins, all to get plenty of at-bats. You need Fry and Hoskins to heat up in this stretch because the lefties. I'll be curious to see how they play things with the DH spot, given that they want to be careful of DeLauter. And now Arias is missing time. Who knows how much? And then you really need to they really do need Hoskins to get warm up here soon. And hopefully playing in Atlanta and St. Louis, where it should be a little bit warmer, helps out. But, the Royals, they hit, 2 home runs in this game, and they played in the same cold weather, and they were better. So can't make excuses.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a frustration in a game like this, right? Bottom line, where Kobe Allard's 2-run home run ends up.
When they brought Kobe Allard in, I texted you and a couple people. I said, "Well, they're punting this game. If Allard's in, they're just punting till tomorrow," which is something they've done in the past. And Peyton Paulette, I know you get the home run to Carter Jensen, but his stuff was really good. Like I know people are going to say, "Well, you get the home run to Carter Jensen," but his stuff was really good in this game. And like I said, I think Peyton Paulette by the end of the year is going to earn some more leverage opportunities. I think we didn't even talk about Doug Nikhazy going to the White Sox today. I totally forgot about that. And Peyton Paulette, kind of like a Rule 5 trade there. We'll talk more about it tomorrow, but I'll just say Guardians win that trade. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think I made 3 texts to you about how like somehow the White Sox didn't think this guy was worth keeping on their 40-man.
Crazy.
So we'll have to get into that.
Yeah, we'll dive more into Doug Nikhazy tomorrow, Peyton Paulette. We'll talk about game 2 from Guards Royals. We'll preview game 3. Again, check out the Everydayer Club. Thanks for everything, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
And go Guardians, go. Now my mouse is giving me a hard time. Come on. Thank you all, and go Guardians, go.